What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Unscripted Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Eduardo. I'm here with my co-host, Edward. What's up, Edward?
How's it going, Ed?
Not
Just
much.
don't let the don't let the weather fool you. Just enjoying the Rocky Mountains.
Oh,
I may or may not be in Colorado. This might be AI. I don't know.
you're in Colorado. Like, you went to Boulder to go watch Colorado versus Colorado State and Prime and the Boulders to win.
Possibly, but also I see that Colorado's NFL team was playing against my favorite NFL team,
Uh,
and just maybe decided to make that mission, or it
okay.
could be AI.
I
You never
watch
know.
it. You're rocking the gear, but I'm also rocking the gear. I'll see my Chargers. They won. You know, rocking the gear 2-1 against a poor Carolina team.
Yeah, that
Obviously,
music I was playing in the beginning, it was the hijack instrumental because it was the ASAP Rocky song. I would have put it in my story, but I just forgot. I like to
yeah.
troll my IG stories, but I didn't really have time.
Yeah. Let's jump right into it. On a crazy week in the NFL. What really stood out to you um this this week too that just happened right now?
Week two.
Because
Uh,
week two has some crazy games, very upsets.
it wasn't really the games. It's kind of like what followed. Just like I mean, it happens, but I guess what was more surprising was just like the bevy of injuries that just piled up right on this Monday morning as we're recording.
And obviously this Monday afternoon that we recording this podcast, some breaking news. Obviously, let's just jump right into it. Bryce Young is benched. Um, he had a he hasn't been looking good. That's obviously they lost to my Chargers 26-3. Um, and this Panthers team it just does not look good at all. This offensive line stinks. They cannot protect Bryce Young. I think there was like one hit where I was like he was scrambling and instead of getting rid of the football, he just took the hit. And I'm like, how much more can this kid take? This is his second season. Obviously, he was the first overall pick last year. And like let me just like what the Bears traded their pick to the Panthers, and the Bears received DJ Moore, a 2023 first round draft pick, and these are for Darnell Wright on offensive tackle, 2000 second round pick same year, Tyreek Stevenson, a cornerback. They got a 2024 first round pick. That's where they used Caleb Williams to draft. And a 2025 second round pick. And the Panthers just received a first round pick, which they used for Bryce Young. Like, and to bench him already, you know,
I mean,
obviously the ownership and the everybody like they didn't draft Bryce Young. So, and I think you mentioned to me they're kind of giving him like the Kenny Pickett treatment to where like
something, yeah, something like that. But also, yeah, but going back to what you said, I do feel like it was really the owner's decision to kind of like make this change,
mhm.
and if things just,
But he
it
makes
might just
changes
be
so
like,
quick. He may just change it so quick, like a 1 year, like the coach, like immediately he just makes like changes real quick and not really stable. The franchise hasn't been really stable. They haven't like a consistent coach, and obviously with Bryce Young, they just benched him already. And obviously next year's drafts might have Carson Beck, Shador Sanders. So are they looking for that? But I feel like no matter who goes there, it's just a bad situation.
mm, yeah, it's just you kind of feel for Bryce Young. It's not really like his fault. He was put into the situation, and he just looks every time you see him play, he just looks so helpless. But I just think it's the owner. It's really more the owner kind of like making this decision, and it's hard to say that they're going backwards, but it's just like it's not really helping the franchise. And I'm not saying it's not really like making them take a step to making them go backwards. Just like it's just I don't. I guess you could say it's hurting the franchise, but it's just
I mean,
they've just
with
been like stuck in like.
I mean, when the
They
home
just
games
been
tick, when the tickets are like $1, and like last year they had nobody in the game, like it's just sad. Like this team has somewhat of a history. I think they were celebrating what their 30 years or something like that yesterday, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, little
And
history lesson. I think the Panthers were an expansion team in like the mid '90s.
yeah, and
So
obviously they have history. They've been to a Super Bowl before. Obviously they lost. They had Steve Smith. So a lot of this franchise, obviously Cam Newton. They haven't been to Super Bowl since Cam Newton took them there, and they were
mhm.
what that team was great. And obviously
I
this
believe they were 15-1 that year.
and it's a great city, and it's unfortunate for this franchise to be where it's at. Um, so we'll see. Andy Dalton, the Red Rocket, is starting week 3. We'll see how it goes, but yeah, let's talk like quickly about the Chargers. Obviously, they didn't really face kind of started off pretty slow, but they won. Obviously, he was playing the Panthers. Got J.K. Dobbins is looking like himself. This, like I said, second round pick from the Ravens. Nobody wanted him, obviously with his injuries, with his Achilles. 17 carries for 131 yards, 1 touchdown. Obviously, this is gonna be the offensive is gonna be mainly running. Obviously, with the offensive coordinator Greg Roman. Um, and then surprise, surprise, Quentin Johnston got 2 touchdowns yesterday, 5 catches, 51 yards, 2 touchdowns, and like obviously he was the first round pick. I mean, but yeah, first round pick, the Chargers first round pick last year, and it didn't really turn out the way it was. Obviously, they need him to step up this season. Obviously, with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams being gone, last season he had 38 catches, for 431 yards and 2 touchdowns. This season, 8 catches, 89 yards and 2 touchdowns. So he has like equal this amount of touchdowns what he did last season just in 2 games. Obviously, he just scored in 2 games, but we're gonna need him obviously for the future, and obviously go moving forward with the offense. But I'm impressed. Obviously this team is the defense is really good. We didn't really have any challenges with them. Justin Herbert, 14 for 20, 130 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, which I think he made a mistake, silly mistake. He probably should learn from it. It just he knows better, and I think he just kind of I'm not sure what he was thinking, but he just made a mistake there. But I think this game, the running game is going to be very key. Obviously, we're going to play your Steelers next.
Yeah, I
Um,
was about to get into that. That
uh,
rare. It's one of those. I don't want to say rare. Just happens every few years that my favorite team and your favorite team right now going against each other. And this is going
yeah.
to be in Pittsburgh in Acrisure Stadium for
Well,
the
hi,
season
or
opener
or Heinz Field, whatever, however you want to call it. But yeah, let's go to your Pittsburgh Steelers. They took on, and then we'll talk about the game. Uh, Pittsburgh Steelers went to Colorado. Obviously, you're in the Rocky Mountains right now.
right
Um,
now. Yeah.
and they played Denver Broncos rookie Bo Nix. Um, tell me what were your thoughts on the game? Obviously
Uh,
it wasn't that many. It wasn't a high scoring game, 13-6. Obviously there is altitude in Denver. Justin Fields, 13 for 20, 117 yards, 1 touchdown. Didn't really throw much, but when he did, he was efficient. Didn't lose the ball. Was, you know,
I can just yeah touching on that. I can say that his confidence is really just. I would say it's getting better week by week, but I don't think confidence was ever an issue with him. I'm gonna play this audio that I kind of explain my reasoning as to why I feel he's better. I don't want to say better equipped to like handle the offense, but I just felt once we acquired him, I felt like we kind of had something good on our hands.
uh
I'll just play this.
yeah, I don't think I can hear it.
Yeah, you're like, well,
Nah. Well, I mean, if you just want to say it and not just like click the audio,
yeah,
we kind of paraphrase what he was saying.
yeah.
Or what?
Basically, I was just going back to that whole training camp clip of him when the reporters asked him about him competing, and he just kind of exuded this confidence of I know he's kind of as the backup quarterback, but he's still going to approach it as if he's a starter. And based on what I've seen with him playing, he's still showing he's still a starter potential in the league.
Mhm.
And Yeah. So I don't think confidence has ever been an issue with Justin Fields. It's like he's just making the most of the opportunity presented to him.
Well, I mean,
And
he's in a good situation, obviously, and Chicago wasn't that great of a situation, and now at with the Steelers, obviously with the great coach that is Mike Tomlin, it's a really good situation with him. Obviously, with the offensive coordinator Artie Smith, it kind of suits him a little bit more the offense and
mhm,
how Artie Smith kind of wants to run the offense. But obviously, it was the Steelers' first touchdown of this season. It was a 5-yard touchdown to tight end Darnell Washington. It was a great throw and a great catch
mhm.
to the was he rookie?
This is his second year.
Second year
And like in the previous offense, he was kind of used more in like passing for more
blocking.
like yeah, run blocking. But
Uh,
I feel maybe Artie Smith will figure out ways to probably use him correctly and probably like showcase his pass catching abilities
mm.
because he's a big dude. But I guess based on his size, he maybe the previous coordinator felt he was better equipped for run blocking. But the Steelers, we still do have weapons. We still have Cordell Patterson from Artie Smith's time in Atlanta. They brought him over,
Yeah, I mean, they
and
haven't really used them
mhm.
that much.
But
Obviously, it hasn't been that effective. Obviously, he's a Swiss Army knife, and you can use in the run game or the passing game. Obviously, he hasn't been that efficient. Hasn't really used, but it's there whenever he's needed, whenever that is. Najee Harris obviously is the leading back. He's 17 carries, 69 yards. Jalen Ward's right behind him, 9 carries, 42 yards. Justin Fields ran for 27 yards. Obviously, I think he's running when he needs to and
mhm.
being very careful. Obviously, in Chicago, he was just running everywhere because the offensive line wasn't that great. And, you know, but I mean, I think him and George Pickens are kind of building a little chemistry. Obviously, George Pickens only had 2 catches for 29 yards, but, you
He did
know,
have one. He did have another nice catch, but it got called back due to a holding penalty by Broderick Jones,
uh,
and Mike Tomlin had to bench him because he's. I think Coach G's starting to get sick and tired of
yeah.
the pointless penalties the offensive line's
Yeah,
creating.
like
But
so it was a lot of penalties in this game. The Steelers committed 10 penalties. Um, and including 2 holding penalties on the rookie. Like you said, Bryce Young, penalties from him. So it was a lot of penalties. Luckily, they won the game, but that's
I
something
still
that
think there's time for the offensive line to kind of clean that up. But yeah, Coach G's just setting that standard of he's not tolerating that
yeah.
nonsense that pretty much dumb penalties that are gonna hurt the team. But glad we got the win.
And
Like I said,
the defense is still there. TJ Watt is again what was his second sack? Was it a second sack of the season
I
or
don't know if
something?
all this. I don't have the
Or his
numbers.
third or something like that? But he's
Yeah, I don't
already
have the numbers, but like I said,
he.
mid-season form. That's just what we expect from
I
TJ.
mean, yeah, obviously he's balling. He's trying to get that defensive player defensive player of the year, which some people felt that he was robbed from that award. But
Yeah,
obviously
Highsmith also got to Bo Nix as well early in the first quarter. But
yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
the defense.
the defense for up. Corey Trice, he got his interception right at the red zone, from the Broncos, which could have been a pivotal moment if the Broncos were able to convert that in the
Yeah, he
end
picked
zone.
him off right after Sean Payton called that little trick play to get him in the red
So
zone.
like Bo
But
Nix, right? That little trick play. Bo Nix he has an arm. It was good. We were waiting for something that Sean Payne to do something up his sleeves, but obviously this Broncos team, it doesn't look good at all. Even when Russ was there,
yes,
this team, it does not look good. Obviously, Bo Nix is a rookie, even though he's like 24, 25 years old. But you know, and,
funny
when
you
you
bring that. Funny you kind of bring up like the how the Broncos are performing. I just think that fan base. I think they feel. I'm not speaking for them, but I just think that they feel like maybe they're getting a little impatient with Sean Payton, or maybe feel like he's kind of overrated.
Mhm.
And it's just like the fan base has kind of been suffering for maybe I think now going on like the
from those
last
Payne
three
years,
years.
ever since Payne Manny left, and they haven't really found a quarterback,
Oh
a
yeah, it's
franchise
been a
quarterback.
revolving door since that last Super Bowl.
Last Super
Since
Bowl,
that last Super Bowl win.
yeah. So it's been a while, but obviously, My Chargers are playing your Steelers. Obviously, it's a home opener at Pittsburgh. It's going to be loud at Acrisure Stadium. I think the key the key factors for the Chargers to win that game is to really put pressure on Justin Fields. I've seen in these last two games that when the defense sends pressure to him and he's under pressure, he kind of makes mistakes and kind of just doesn't throw the ball really well or hold on to the ball a little bit too much. He kind of needs to get rid of it quicker, um, and not let him run as much. I think that's the key factor for the Chargers to get this victory. Obviously, the running game has been really well, but obviously with this defense, we'll see. I don't know how they limited the Broncos the run game, right? The Broncos didn't really Javante Williams. I mean, yeah, like they only did like Bo Nix was the leading rush for 25 yards, Javante Williams 17 yards. So it might be a little tough for the Chargers to run the ball. So it might be needed that obviously with Palmer and Quentin Johnston, Ladd, McCogney is going to be them. It may be relying on Justin Herbert to win the
Hmm.
game because it's going to be tough there. It's going to be loud. Obviously, the stadium is pretty loud. What are your thoughts on the game?
Yeah,
The game coming up.
yeah,
We're both 2-0. Hey, we're both 2-0. Unfortunately, your
yeah.
guys.
Both,
Unfortunately, the Chiefs. They're still 2-0. So we're right there.
yeah, two unbeaten teams in the league. I mean, I'm just reporting a fact that Herbert, he's been dealing with like some leg injuries, so I don't know if those hardball slaps are like kind of like affecting his body,
No,
like
but
a
he was
little
ready.
pregame ritual he does
But he
with
was
him.
ready. He was ready for this one. He was ready for this one. But like
But
you said,
yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, yeah. This next game will be pretty interesting with two unbeaten teams kind of facing each other. The Steelers have the advantage of playing at home, but
And
I'm
run
just gonna
off,
ask you. I'm just
run
gonna
off,
ask
offs.
you
Yeah,
a question
yeah.
about. I guess since it's my team going against your team.
Uh-huh.
You're a betting man, right?
Yeah. I mean, well, maybe you more than me, but
I mean, not tooting my horn, but I'm just aggressive with it. Maybe, maybe a little too aggressive, but that's just the life of gambling. I kind of have like a little thing in mind since I'll think maybe if I place a parlay and you're probably going to place a parlay in that week,
uh-huh.
that's just kind of like posing the question. Maybe if just so happens that one of us maybe wins a parlay, maybe maybe the winner the winner of said parlay gets half the earnings. Are you down
That
for that?
all. I mean, we could do that. We could do like the winner, maybe like buys a lunch or
Actually,
something like that. Something
I
like
mean I
that.
meant like the loser.
The loser, like maybe that, or like the loser buys, I don't know, lunch or something like that. And in that range, we'll
Yeah,
see. We'll
maybe
see.
the
We'll
loser.
we'll we'll we'll, 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 we'll talk about it. We'll talk about more than there.
Oh no, just want to make it
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, yeah.
Sports betting is kind of
We're
just
on the
like
mic, so
yeah, it's
we're on
just
the mic. So you trying to
sports
put
betting
me
is
on the
just part of the
spot?
fabric of the whole sports watching experience now,
Yeah, but I mean, it should be
depending on what
interesting.
state you live
Yeah,
in.
but it should be an interesting game. Hopefully, my team pulls off the victory. But we'll see. Um, Speaking of that, keeping in the same division, obviously the AFC, the Chiefs took on the Bengals in a rivalry. It's becoming a rivalry. Joe Burrow was headed to Arrowhead or Burrowhead or something. They call it there. Call it there. Play the Kansas City Chiefs. Man, what a game! This felt like a playoff. Like if it was like the playoffs, man. The Bengals know how to play against the Chiefs really well. Joe Burrow has beaten Mahomes. Well, how many times he beat him? I know once for sure to go to the Super Bowl. Um,
I don't know if this is the I don't know if that's the accurate number. Is it 5-1? I might be wrong. I don't exactly
I
have the
thought it was
numbers
like
in
I
front of
thought
me.
it was like 3-1 before for today. Well, the Chiefs won 25-26. Uh, in a great game. Obviously, not the best game for Mahomes, but Joe Burrow really balled out in this game.
Yeah,
23 for
Mahomes had 18 to 25, 151 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks.
mhm, 2 picks, and Joe Burrow 23 for 36, 258 yards, 2 touchdowns, and obviously without T Higgins, Jamar Chase is his second game, even though he didn't really was in training camp the first all training camp, not towards the last week, the end of the last week of training camp. He only had 4 catches, 35 yards, and they're hoping to get T Higgins back next game. Obviously Mike Gesicki was the man for Burrow. 7 catches, 91 yards. He was a key player for that team.
As well as
And
Andre. Yeah,
Yoshivas,
Yoshivash.
Yoshivas. I had to make sure how to pronounce the name because it's a little weird. Obviously, 2 touchdowns in the end zone in the red zone. They're efficient in the red zone. He caught 2 catches for 7 yards, and those 2 catches were touchdowns. The Chiefs, man, like Pacheco, 90 yards, ran for 90 yards. He got hurt. He will be out
Hmm.
for several weeks, if I'm not mistaken. Um, but man, this offense, it was a back and forth battle. It was a back and forth battle. Like,
Yeah, people have been saying maybe the Chiefs probably didn't have, they probably didn't play maybe their cleanest game, or some people are saying the refs kind of assisted them maybe around like that fourth quarter. But
no, but it was the right
yeah,
call. The last call was the right call. It was the
hmm
right call. Was it like what pass interference? That's what they were calling.
yeah, it was pass interference. You're
Yeah,
correct on that.
he got he jumped a little too early, and who knows if he would have caught it. It kind of looked like it was kind of he wasn't be able to get it, but yeah, it was pass interference. It was clean, and it's crazy how like when you play against the Chief at Arrowhead, there's always this like they always get like a penalty or something towards the end just to win the game. And obviously the people were saying like that's not that wasn't a flag. They're always trying to help the refs, were trying to help the Chiefs and that. But I mean, here you can see it was clear pass interference. But it was just
Hmm.
they always get lucky with the call that favors them
I
for
mean,
them
the
to win the game.
offense, I mean, besides that touchdown pass to Rasheed Rice and that touchdown pass
Man,
to Wanya Morris in the red zone,
uh,
the Chiefs, yeah, without, you said Pacheco's going to be out. Yeah, that might be, I don't want to say it'll like hurt them, but like that's probably going to like test them to like maybe having to open up the playbook now
mhm.
because Travis Kelce only had 1 catch for 5 yards. But
And
I
they've
think,
been holding him. And
yeah, with the like with the Pacheco injury, I feel like they're gonna have to open up the playbook more and probably have to get him more involved. And I
they got
know,
P Ryan. They got remember the running back P Ryan from the Bengals. Obviously, he played for the Bengals, and possibly getting Jarek McKinnick. McKinnick. I don't know if he's still on the team or not, but that could be an option.
some
The
people have
rookie
kind of been saying like Kelsey's
still,
kind of getting old, but I still think he still has something left in the tank.
yeah, he
It's
still
just
got it.
in order for the Chiefs to probably like defend and get that 3P, they still will have to lean on him more.
Yeah, they might have to lean on him a little bit more. It might be not so much in the run game. But offensively, like you said, they have the receivers. They have Rasheed Rice, Justin Watson. I mean, Xavier Worthy. He was only held for 17 yards.
Yeah,
Travis
he has to
Kelsey.
get involved in the offense too, not just off of like gadget plays, but I think also just like general receive. Basically, like they got to utilize him as a receiver too, not just as like a gadget guy.
Yeah, yeah. And I think Hollywood Brown's gonna be out for what 4 weeks, if I'm not mistaken.
I
So, I mean, Mahomes.
actually, I think I just read the report. I think he might be out for the whole season.
Oh yeah, he was gonna be out for the season, the regular season, I think. But I mean,
Yeah.
Mahomes had less and still won Super Bowl, so I feel like they'll still do something with
Hmm.
the Chiefs are still gonna be the Chiefs. But I feel Joe Burrow, he looked frustrated. Jamar Chase, obviously, he let his frustrations out. Got that penalty. He thought it was what was it called? He got mad at he caught a ball and then kind of was yelling at the ref, and the ref let it slide for a little bit, not till Jamar kept on
He
going, and
retaliated.
yeah, but I forgot what he was asking for. Kind of like he slammed them to the ground or something like that.
It was just his emotions got the better of him in that moment, and I'm
Yeah.
sure I'm sure Joe Cool had a conversation with him. Like the boys. He'll
Yeah,
just
but
like
he was trying to calm him down, but he just
yeah.
kind of Burrows. try to get the way, and he was still going. But Joe Burrow obviously did not look happy at the end of the game, and even the press conference, he said this was. They asked him, I like how did he feel or something like that. If I'm mistaken, he just said, "Oh yeah, ask me on Wednesday because it's gonna take a while for me to like process it and stuff like that." So this really hurt him. Obviously he balled out. He played really well, but I mean, honestly, I think the Chiefs don't want to see the Bengals in the playoffs because the Bengals can definitely match up with the Chiefs offensively. So we'll see. But this was a really great game. Um, Yesterday. Um, what else? They were like I said, there was a lot of surprises. The Saints, you know, shut up the humble some Cowboys fans.
I
Um,
mean, as
they
football fans, is that really like a shocker? I mean, it was a shocker how much they put on
no
them, but
no, but
I think
like
we also just we
but
just
the
enjoy Cowboys' misery as a whole.
no, but like I think besides Saints fans, I don't think we really thought the Saints were that good. They manhandled them 44-19 at Jerry World. So I don't think
Hmm.
any of us really thought that the Saints were that good and legit, but it's looking like they're legit. And Kamara, man, he's looking like his rookie season that he had 4 touchdowns when he went off. Another surprising was the Minnesota Vikings. They beat the 49ers.
Hmm. But they
And
also did lose. They did lose Justin Jefferson in the process,
do
and
you know
they
how
also lost. I don't know. I don't know what the status is right now. He just got. He just dealt. He's dealing with a quad injury right now.
might be out for
I
like
don't know
a
if.
few weeks?
Yeah, I don't know how serious it is, but on the side of the Niners, I also did. I guess Nick Bosa's also been dealing with something, and
Debo.
McCaffrey. Yeah, McCaffrey. I guess we didn't realize how serious
Yeah, nobody
his.
knew.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knew even on Monday, and obviously Debo's out for a couple of weeks, and that's gonna affect them. Obviously, for some reason, when they're not, the whole team is not together offensively. They just don't click, and this team hasn't. And we'll see if they bounce back because they look great against the Jets. They look like a real Super Bowl contender team, and obviously the Vikings with Sam Darnold. Out of everyone, Sam Darnold, nobody really was expecting the Vikings to win or have a good season, but Sam Darnold has really balled out with that
I mean, I still
97.
think that yeah, the Niners defense will still kind of carry them
Yeah,
because Fred Warner did have that fumble, did make Aaron Jones fumble. I think the Vikings are like right in the red zone too.
yeah. Another surprise was the Arizona Cardinals. Like I said, this week was full of surprise. Arizona Cardinals beat the Rams 41-10. Marvin Harrison Jr., the rookie, 2 touchdowns. I think he went for, let me just see, 130 yards.
And all
He
that
went
was in the
off
first quarter. He
all the
just
first
like
score.
he just dominated that first quarter and just the Cardinals were just rolling after that.
Yeah, James
The
Conner
Rams had
ran.
no answer.
Yeah, James Conner ran for 122 yards, and Kyler Murray balled out. Unfortunately, the Rams have lost another key player. Like I said, this week was full of surprises and injuries. The Rams lost Cooper Kupp. I think he's out for a couple of weeks, or they don't know what his status was, or was he out? Yeah, Cooper Kupp is expected to miss in multiple weeks. Could be placed on IR. So that is a key factor. They already have Puka Nakua out for 4 weeks. So that's another injury um that another team is dealing with. The
Mm-hmm.
Raiders went to MMT Bank Stadium and beat the Ravens. Obviously, you're happy about that. Ravens are 0-2. The Ravens are
I'm
0
not
2.
crying about it.
The Ravens are 0 2, and it's a little stat for you. Teams that are 0 2 have a 6% chance of making the playoffs. And obviously, you don't mind it. I mean, it didn't look good. Gardner Minshew balled that did good defense. Devontae Smith, I mean Devontae Adams, my bad. 110 yards, 1 touchdown. Brock Bowers, the tight end, looking like a real deal. 98 yards and 9 catches. But it was a crazy week. Any last words? Any last comments? The Texans beat the Bears yesterday. Obviously, Kelly Williams didn't look that great. He hasn't looked good. Um, before we end, this is another thing I want to say. This to a rookie comparison. because obviously I'm also a Commanders fan. Washington. The other name that some fans still call it. I know sometimes I still do. Uh, Caleb Williams
It's
versus
DC. We got to be politically
yeah.
correct.
All right, Caleb Williams with Jaden Daniels. Caleb Williams has thrown for 326 yards, completions 56%, zero total touchdowns, two interceptions, passer rating of 53. Jaden Daniels has thrown for total yards, 542 yards, completion 75 yards, two total touchdowns, and a passer rating of 97 yards. And he's doing it with less too, because remember the Bears have DJ Moore, Roman Dunze. I think Keenan Allen didn't play, but he's there. Cole Kmet, Duran, uh, Swift. So maybe it's the pressure that's getting to Caleb. Who knows? But the offensive line obviously is not that great either. For I mean both teams, but I think Jaden Daniels, the offense has really worked for him, and he's been efficient with the ball. He hasn't really made mistakes. But yeah, Caleb Williams not looking that good in Chicago. And also now they're 1-1.
I mean, Caleb Williams, he wasn't number one overall pick, so that magnifying glass is always going to be like highlighted on him.
Mm.
Whereas Jaden Daniels was also a Heisman Trophy winner, so that magnifying glass is going to be highlighted on him too. But it's still early in the season, and I still think the Bears still have time to kind of like correct some stuff. And with the Commanders, it's just they're 1-1 right now, correct?
Yeah, they're 1-1. They beat the Giants. Obviously, the Giants stink too. It was a close one. Seven, seven
I
field
mean,
goals from the kicker, just field goals, and they still won the game. The Giants scored three touchdowns, and they still lost.
what I just find weird with the Commanders is that they're the whole thing this season is that like it's a new era, but I just feel like it's not getting the attention it's really supposed to be getting.
I mean, the offense looks
That's
good. I like the way the offense is. I like it. It's promising. Jay Daniels has really played really well. I like the way he's played. Obviously, I think we still need a little bit more weapons. McLaurin really hasn't played that well. Brian Robinson Jr. has balled out, the running back. I think 2 weeks back to back, 100 yards, if I'm not mistaken. Um, so we'll see. We'll see what happens with them. I'm not really expecting much this season. Maybe possibly next or the following one. So we'll see. But yeah, man. Any last words before we end this episode?
yeah, who's got it better than us?
Nah,
Nobody.
you can't take that slogan. It's Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh, man.
We'll
That
see
dude.
next week.
No, wait, hold on. Before we end this podcast, like that dude he gets the team going. Like I see his post game videos. That dude gets you hyped, gets you ready to play the next game right now. Like you just finished the game and you guys won. Man, that dude gets you like hyped. So I'm sure those boys he got them going. So hopefully they brought the energy because they're staying in the East Coast because they're not gonna travel back to Los Angeles and head to Pittsburgh. They're gonna stay in the East Coast. So we'll see what happens next week. We'll definitely talk about this game because it's between both of our teams. So we'll see. But until then, we'll be back with another episode. Peace.
Goodbye. Go Steelers.